Kwara residents flee to Niger after a deadly attack. Police move to prevent clash at Abuja PDP Secretariat. Plateau confirms 4 Lassa fever deaths and 11 cases. Morocco battles devastating floods, rescues efforts ongoing. Hello, welcome to the news update on Trust TV. My name is Hawa Gambo. Thank you for joining us. Residents of Woro community in Kiama, local government area of Kwara State, have fled to neighboring Niger State following a deadly terrorist attack that reportedly left over 176 people dead. The attack occurred between Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning, forcing families to abandon their homes with little or no belongings, as fear spread across Woro and nearby villages. Viral videos show displaced residents taking refuge in Wawa town, Niger State, gathered by the roadside. Some were seen under temporary shelters while women and children sat on the ground, appearing exhausted. Confirming the development, the special assistant to the chairman of Kiama, local government area, Musa, said the community had been completely deserted after the attack. Although security forces have been deployed to restore calm, many residents remain unwilling to return, citing fears of renewed attacks and uncertainty over their safety. Officials say displaced families are now depending on host communities for temporary shelter and support. At least 2 persons have been killed in a fresh attack on Akwete community in Apa, local government area of Benue State, by armed men. The attack, which occurred on Friday evening, also left several residents injured, while others are reportedly missing. As fear and confusion spread across the community, residents said the assailants first entered the area around midday, but were repelled by local youths, forcing them to withdraw temporarily. However, the attackers later returned and killed a man who had gone back to his house to pick up personal belongings. His motorcycle was also set ablaze. Another resident was reportedly killed in a nearby location during the second wave of the attack. The victims were identified as Matthew Ochanga and Isaac Adanu, while several others sustained varying degrees of injuries. Meanwhile, the Benue State Police Command confirmed receiving reports of an attack on Ediku Icho, also in Apa, local government area, but said the situation was successfully contained. Nigerian troops under 17th Brigade, Katsina, have recovered 529 rustled animals after engaging suspected terrorists in a first gun battle in Gafur, local government area of Katsina State. The Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations 15th Brigade, Captain Abayomi Adisa, disclosed this in a statement issued on Saturday in Katsina State. He said the operation carried out by troops of the Forward Operating Base, Malumfashi, was a major success. According to him, the terrorists opened fire on sighting the advancing troops, leading to a fierce exchange of gunfire. He said the troops responded with superior firepower, forcing the assailants to retreat into nearby bushes while abandoning part of the stolen livestock. Adisa disclosed that 14 cows were killed during the exchange of fire, as the terrorists reportedly used them as human shields. The Army spokesman noted that no casualty was recorded among the troops, describing the operation as a testament to their professionalism and combat effectiveness. What was meant to be a moment of joy had ended in tragedy, as no fewer than 18 people died following a fatal road accident involving a commercial vehicle and a wedding convoy in Duzama local government area of Katsina State. Men, women and children lost their lives in the crash, which occurred about half a kilometer after Fagua village, a few meters before Karofi, along the Duzama-Kankia road. Trust TV's Abdullahi Ahmadi, who visited the scene, as well as survivors and grieving families in Karofi and Bogodadi villages, now reports.
Silence Scattered belongings and an airy silence now mark the spot where celebrations suddenly turned to sorrow. Contrary to earlier reports, Trust TV can confirm that the bride and groom are alive and in stable condition. The couple had traveled ahead of the convoy, hoping to avoid a night journey. However, tragedy struck those who followed behind. Eyewitnesses say several victims died at the scene, prompting villagers and emergency responders to recover the remains for burial. The situation worsened hours later when 2 injured victims died in hospital, bringing the total death toll to 18. People were saying the bride and groom died, but they are alive. What we witnessed was terrible. I lost my elder sister, my son, and my younger brother. 2 others later died in the hospital. It is very painful. Grief hangs heavily over Karofi and Bagagadi villages as mourners wept openly and families struggled to come to terms with the sudden loss of loved ones. For some households, the accident claimed more than one family member, leaving deep emotional scars. My name is Gaddafi Shehu. When the accident happened, my wife and I were already at home. Most of those who died were our relatives. I lost about 3 or 4 people. I'm emotionally drained. Still visibly shaken, the groom says neither he nor his bride was part of the convoy at the time of the accident, having traveled earlier. He explains that many of those who died were close relatives. What should have marked the beginning of a new chapter has now been overshadowed by mourning and sorrow. Road safety experts continue to warn that overspeeding, reckless driving, poor road conditions, and night travel remain major causes of fatal accidents across Nigeria. We sympathize deeply with the families of the victims. The crash involved a wedding convoy and a commercial vehicle. Preliminary findings indicate a head-on collision caused by overspeeding and night travel. The Katsina State Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps confirmed that preliminary investigations indicate the crash involved a head-on collision between a wedding convoy vehicle and a commercial bus, with overspeeding identified as a major factor. He extended condolences to the affected families and urged motorists to exercise caution, particularly during night journeys. These accidents may have occurred in moments, but its impact will linger for a lifetime. For the families left behind, the loss is profound and irreparable. Abdullahi Izmayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
The FCT Police Command says it will deploy officers to prevent a possible clash between rival factions of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, ahead of Monday's planned reopening of the party's national secretariat in Abuja. The reopening is being pushed by the Abdurrahman Mohammed-led caretaker committee backed by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, despite an ongoing leadership dispute. Senior police officers said the command had not been formally notified of the plan, but would deploy personnel to forestall any breakdown of law and order. Tension has continued to build within the party since the Wadata Plaza Secretariat was sealed on November the 19th, 2025, following violent clashes between supporters of the Tanimu Turaki-led NWC and the Mohammed-led caretaker committee. The acting national secretary of the caretaker committee, Samuel Anyawu, confirmed plans to reopen the office on Monday, insisting there are no legal obstacles. However, the Turaki-led factions reject the move, saying the matter is still before the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has defended the ongoing amendment of the Electoral Act, saying critics are judging lawmakers based on an incomplete legislative process. Speaking in Abuja at the unveiling of a book by Senator Offiong Bob, Akpabio said the Senate did not remove electronic transmission of results, but only raised concerns about making real-time transmission mandatory. His comments followed criticism from opposition parties and civil society groups, including the Nigerian Bar Association, which called for mandatory electronic transmission of election results in the amended law. Akpabio argued that forcing real-time transmission could lead to legal disputes where network failures or insecurity disrupt elections, especially in remote areas. He said the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) should determine the mode and timing of result transmission within the framework of the law based on available infrastructure. The Senate President warned that imposing technology beyond Nigeria's current capacity could invalidate results in areas with poor connectivity, stressing that electoral reforms must match institutional and technical realities. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has cancelled its sit-at-home order across the southeast, the group announced on Saturday. The decision follows a directive from IPOB's detained leader, Nnamdi Kanu, instructing the group to suspend the action in the interest of peace and normal economic activities in the region. IPOB's leadership says the suspension aims to allow businesses and daily life to resume without disruption across the affected states.
This information is coming from the table of Triple General Igwe Botozo and Major General Gento de Yahoo and all the 40 state commanders in Biafra land. As the information reaching to my table to inform all Biafrans, order from the highest command of the Biafra Restoration Movement, Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has reached us that Monday sit at home is cancelled from today. Sit at home is a voluntarily and will not be enforced henceforth. Last Monday, sit at home February, 2nd of February, sit at home was a one-off event due to the Soludo's stupidity and will not happen again. Onitsha traders and Onitsha traders are Biafrans and our children must return to school.
Farmers in Alau community, Borno State, have called on the government to establish a tomato processing factory to reduce post-harvest losses. The farmers also decried the impact of flooding that destroyed farmlands and appealed for urgent intervention before the next rainy season. Trust TV's Bitrus Kurizi brings in the report.
Alau community sits beside the Alau Dam on the outskirts of Maiduguri city. Most residents here are predominantly farmers cultivating tomatoes, onions, watermelons, pepper, and other crops. However, farmers are grappling with poor storage and preservation facilities, leading to massive waste of their produce. Irrigation farming ensures abundant harvest for the community. It takes about 4 months to cultivate tomatoes. When we harvest and cannot sell in the market, we dry them and sell later. Farming is tedious and expensive. You have to buy fuel for water pumps, fertilizers, and insecticides. Only those who are financially strong can sustain it. Otherwise, the challenges become overwhelming. We don't make such profit. Sometimes I leave the market with my produce because of transportation costs and poor patronage. Often we are forced to dispose of the tomatoes because they get rotten. I am not happy with this. I harvest 20 to 30 baskets daily, but the losses are unimaginable.
To wannan kamfani mu talaka ina mun sani mu dai wanda zai iya ya doka nauyi shine namu ai mu ba mu san kamfani ko waye yana aiki ba ai.
Farmers say a processing facility would boost productivity and reduce waste. They also want government support in the form of inputs such as fertilizers, insecticides, and water pumping machines.
Ina bukata mana sai dai samun dai in za a samu muna bukata.
If the government can support us with tomato processing factory, it will encourage us to increase production. We are ready to work. We also need water pump machines. As you can see, my farm needs water, but I don't have the equipment.
Gwamnati ai ba zai baka kyautan komai ba. Sai taimako ne yake yi abinda zaka ya taimaka shine taimakon ka kai talaka. In kamar taki wannan gashi ana sayarwa 70,000 in an kawo a ce ko 30,000 ko 25 mun samu sauki.
We want a processing company to be established to stop the waste. We also want affordable fertilizers. If the price can drop from 70,000 naira to 25,000 naira, it will help. We farm rice, cassava, potatoes, and many other crops here. Meanwhile, the Borno State Commissioner of Agriculture, Bawu Musami, revealed in a telephone chat that the state government has procured and installed modular tomato processing plants and other equipment, which are expected to become fully operational in the coming months.
We have, inshallah, we have called in for investors and for us to sign a partnership with any interested investor or any interested partner, whereby we'll give it out to them and they will be adding value to all excessive harvested produce that we had in the state, which is very, very important. So, inshallah, what we are going to do now is for us to cover the gap, to tell our farmers, those that produce tomato, will make sure that we tell them we have the modular processing plant, and those that are producing onion, will tell them that all preparations are in pipe. Inshallah, in the next few months, we are going to kickstart all those facilities for it to come back to life.
While awaiting the intervention, Modu and his colleagues remain committed to dry season farming in Alo community. Betro Security, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
This is a news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Plateau confirms 14 Lassa fever deaths and 11 cases.